time for Nerdgasm.
Hey, what's up guys? Jerry here, aka Barnacules, and I've been receiving a lot of messages from you guys lately saying that you think 3D printing is just a fad. You say that everything that I 3D print doesn't really have any use and it's just kind of a novelty. And I'll tend to agree with you that when I 3D print stuff like rubber band guns and little iPhone amplification devices and even cool stuff like a 3D printed gearbox that actually works, these things don't really have a daily place in my life. And I totally understand that. So what I'm gonna try to prove to you in this video is that I can 3D print something that I'm gonna use every single day and will improve my life. So sit tight guys while I show you how to 3D print some flush mount devices to put your iPad and iPhone on the wall, or in my case on the side of my nightstand, to free up space and make it so I can easily see my devices while they're charging. Also, today's video is brought to you by Squarespace. Now, if you guys are unfamiliar with Squarespace, they allow you to create your own web page, blog, or e-commerce site very, very easily by selecting one of their many templates and building up on it. You don't need any prior web development experience, and they get you up running fast. Now, I've been using Squarespace for 2 years now to run my shop.barnerd.com site, and it's really great for keeping track of my inventory and all of my sales, and it makes everything just dead simple. So guys, give them a try and make sure you go to squarespace.com/Barnacules and use code Barnacules to get 10% off your first purchase. All right, so the goal of this project is to flush mount my iPad and my iPhone to the side of my nightstand to basically help organize things and make it easy for me to see what's going on the screens from my bedside. So I've already picked out the designs that I like on Thingiverse. The first one is an iPad 2, 3, or 4 wall mount created by a guy named Bogart27. Now you can see there's been 2 remixes of this particular one. There's only one make so far. So this isn't a particularly popular model, but I really liked the design of it. It's a great, very, very simple design. You can see right here, it just has 2 holes to fasten the side, and it's a nice little trough to drop your iPad into. All right, so let's go ahead and download this thing. And you can see right here, he says commercial use is allowed. And he said you must attribute and give credit, which I just did. And there will be a link in the video description for this and every other model printed in this video. Now, the cool thing is he allows those remixes. So if you want, you can download this model and modify it and re-upload it if you give Bogart credit for the original design. I really like that about Thingiverse. A lot of these items have that same flexibility. All right, so now that we have the design for the iPad, let's go get the design I picked out for the iPhone. Now, I picked out this design even though it's technically designed for the leather cover, and I don't actually have the leather cover for my phone. So it's going to be a little bit tight, and I'll have to deal with that by adding some foam to it. But the reason why I picked this design is, as you can see, the bottom is cut out here so that it makes it easy for you to put the power cable in, and he notched out this area right here so that you can easily remove the phone from the holder without having to disconnect the power cable. And that I really liked about this design. And if I ever get the leather case for the phone, it'll fit like a glove. Now you can see again, only one person made one, so this isn't a hugely popular design. I like picking the designs that aren't super popular that are nice because it gets some exposure for these guys that are creating these amazing models. All right, let's go ahead and download it. You can see commercial use is allowed, and again, he just asks for attribution. That is really fantastic. So again, you'll find the link to this in the video description. All right, since I'm going to be printing both of these designs on my Ultimaker 2, I'm gonna use the Cura slicer. Now, let's go ahead and start out with the iPad holder. So I'm gonna grab that and drag it over to Cura. Now you can see immediately we have a problem. It doesn't fit on the build platform, but that's okay because we can simply just come down and rotate it at an angle. Now we can see it's orange. It just barely fits on the build platform. Now, if you have a 3D printer that's too small to print something like this, you can use a program like NetFab to cut it in half, print each half, and then glue it together or weld it together with heat. If you guys would like to see some videos on how to print some larger items on smaller printers as far as cutting them up and gluing them back together, let me know. Those are things that I can absolutely do. Now, since I will be putting my iPad in this and hanging it on the side of something, I want it to be durable. So over here, I'm gonna go ahead and set the layer height is 0.2, a very thick layer, and I'm going to set the fill density to 100. Now, I normally don't set the fill density to 100, but I want this to be a completely solid part. I'm also going to go ahead and use a support type of brim because this thing's so narrow, I want to make sure it has good adhesion so it doesn't have a tendency to want to peel up since it's such a long part. All right, let's get this over to the 3D printer. All right, so now that we have the iPad holder printed out, let's go ahead and print out the iPhone 6 holder. I'm going to go ahead and drag it into Cura. And you can see it fits on the build platform, no problem, because it's a much smaller design. And you can see in here, it doesn't require any kind of support because there's no weird overhangs or angles. It was very well designed to be 3D printed. Now, just like with the iPad holder, we're gonna go ahead and use the same settings. We're gonna use a 0.2 layer height, and we're gonna use 100% infill. Now, again, this is gonna be a load-bearing part that I'm gonna be putting my phone in and taking it out of over and over and over again. And I learned in the past, when you're using a part that's constantly under stress of putting something in, taking it out, putting it in, taking it out, if you don't do a solid infill, the part can start to get brittle and break. And I had that happen with my video game controller holders. And I'll have a link to that video down in the video description so that you guys can see how I created those game holders for my Xbox 360 controllers. Ultimately, they all broke from me putting the controllers on and taking them off and bumping into them and stuff like that. And it's because I didn't use a solid infill. All right, let's get this over to the 3D printer. Well, guys, welcome back to my bedroom. It's been a little while since I brought you guys in here, and that is my nightstand right there. You can see it's just a big component closet from IKEA that I use just for holding all my video game stuff. Now, as you can see on the top there, it's getting a little crowded with my laptop, and then I got the iPad and the iPhone, and that's pretty much everything I can fit on there, but I have the whole side of that cabinet to work with. Now, if you guys would like to see a full room tour of everything, including the projector setup, all my console gaming systems and everything, I did that video a long time ago, and it's linked down in the video description. Check it out. I also had some cool video game controller holders that used to be on the side of the cabinet, but they were fragile and broke because they were a poor design, so I went ahead and removed those, and I plan to make new ones. So if you guys would like to see that video in the future, just let me know down in the comments. All right, there is very little space to work with. I'm literally laying across my bed right now, so hopefully that you guys can see me drilling the stuff into the side of the cabinet. All right, so we're gonna start off with the iPad, and the reason for that is I want the charging cable to go furthest towards the wall there so it doesn't interfere with the iPhone. And the way that this bracket works that I just printed is the iPad literally just snaps right into it like that, and it'll be flush mounted against the side. All right, so just putting it against the side here. Let's go ahead and get it lined up. I want it kind of towards the top, so I think that's probably a good place for it, right about there. So I'm going to go ahead and just take one of my little itty bitty screws here, and I'm just going to scratch it along the edge. So that little scratch right there is going to give me a little guide. All right, so now that we have the little mark, I'm going to go ahead and put the first screw in. All right, that looks kind of in the ballpark. All right, so now to square it all up, I'm going to go ahead and put the iPad in now that I have one screw in, and I'm going to go ahead and maneuver it until it looks like it's pretty square. Then I'm going to remove the iPad. We're going to put a screw in it. All right, now that both screws are in place, let's go ahead and stick the iPad in there. Looks pretty good to me. All right, so now that we have the iPad mounted, now we want to mount the iPhone holder that we printed. Again, we're just going to start with one screw and get it lined up best we can with the bottom. Now that looks pretty good. Now you can tell the phone actually has quite a bit of play because this particular design I think was designed for having like a silicone case on your phone, but what I'm going to do is go ahead and put some pieces of foam in here to make it fit a little bit better. But it's nice because you can just toss it in there and it still holds it. I'm just going to use this little level and ruler just to make sure that the bottom of both of these things is level. All right, this particular design has 3 holes for screws, so we'll go ahead and put in 3, even though honestly we're not going to need it. All right, let's see if we can find some foam to make that a little tighter fit. So guys, as you can see, we just 3D printed a couple of brackets and affixed them to the side of my nightstand. And now I've got my iPad down on the side. I have my iPhone down on the side. They're very, very easy to take out and put back in. And now I've freed up all that space up on my nightstand. Now I do have plans to use the rest of the space on the side of this nightstand for storing stuff like game controllers. I also want to take my laptop up on top and actually make a little holder down at the bottom so I can just pull it out really quick. And I want to find some other stuff to put on the side because I want to utilize this space. And I also want to make some brackets for the wall to store my headphones and things like that because I want to do this organizational stuff.
Guys, it is really hot in here right now.
So guys, I hope that this video showed you that 3D printing isn't just a novelty. It actually has some utility and use to it also. And this is the reason why I think everybody should have a 3D printer in their house, because you can design anything you can think of and pretty much create it. And the organizational stuff, like creating stuff for shelves and hooks for walls and custom mounts for things, I mean, it's pretty much endless. And I find that hugely fascinating, and I wanted to share that with you guys, that it's not all just about printing little rubber band guns and your favorite props from your favorite video games. You can actually get some real use out of this. So guys, if you enjoyed the video, please slap a like on it. Also leave a comment down below if you guys have any other suggestions or even links to designs that might be better than the things that I found on Thingiverse myself. I'm always open to creating some new stuff and trying it out, guys. Damn, I got a little sweaty on this one, didn't I? It's late, and I'm going to bed.
Good night, people of the internet.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please take a moment and subscribe to my channel. It helps me a lot. Also, come over to Twitter. I'm at Barnacules. I'm a real social guy. Also, if you have a couple of minutes, check out some of these many other videos. I made them myself.